What if your memories were lying to you? What if the moments you're most sure of never actually happened the way you remember? Because according to science, your memories aren't recordings of the past. They're stories your brain keeps rewriting, and every time you remember something, that story changes a little more. This matters more than it sounds. Because everything about who you think you are, your past, your relationships, your beliefs, depends on those memories being true. But what if they're not? Let's start with something simple. Think of your favorite childhood memory. Maybe a family trip, or a birthday, or the first time you rode a bike. You can see it clearly, right? The people, the sounds, maybe even how the air felt. You'd swear it's real, but that memory isn't what you think it is. Scientists say memory isn't like a video recording. It's more like a painting that gets touched up every time you look at it. Each time you recall it, you're not replaying the past. You're rebuilding it. This process is called reconsolidation. When you remember something, your brain reactivates the same neurons that stored it the first time. But as those neurons fire, new information can sneak in, such as little details from other memories, emotions, or even things you've imagined. When that memory gets saved again, those new details stay. So the next time you recall that same event, it's a little different. Maybe the color of a shirt changed. Maybe someone was there who actually wasn't. It still feels real, but it's not the same memory you started with. That's the first sign that your brain doesn't care about accuracy. It cares about meaning. It wants the story to make sense, even if that means bending the truth. And that's how memory starts to lie. Let's go a little deeper. Inside your brain, the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex work together like a storytelling team. The hippocampus remembers the basic scene, such as where you were and what happened. The prefrontal cortex fills in the blanks, adding logic and order so it feels complete. But when the brain doesn't have all the details, it guesses. It fills in missing pieces so the memory feels whole. That's usually helpful, but sometimes it leads to completely false memories. In the 1990s, psychologist Elizabeth Loftus ran an experiment that changed how we understand memory. She told people they'd been lost in a shopping mall as kids. The event never happened, but after hearing about it, many started to remember it vividly. They described the store, the people, even what it felt like their brains had built a memory out of suggestion. This showed that memory can be rewritten by simple influence. Just hearing something in a convincing way can plant an image that feels real. And once a false memory feels real, it is real, at least to the person remembering it. Emotions also supercharge memories, even false ones. When you're scared, happy, or in pain, your brain releases chemicals that make that memory stronger. Emotion tells the brain, "This matters. Keep it." But it doesn't check whether it's true. That's why a painful moment can stay vivid for years, while a neutral one fades away. It's also why people can hold on to memories that never happened. If an idea feels emotionally powerful, the brain treats it as fact. So when you recall a memory, especially an emotional one, you're refiring those neurons, reliving the feelings, and reshaping the story every time. Now, here's where it gets even stranger. Remembering changes the memory itself. Every time neurons fire together, they strengthen or weaken their connections. That means each time you recall something, you're literally rewiring your brain. The act of remembering transforms the memory. You could say your past is alive, changing every time you touch it. But this isn't all bad news. That same flexibility is one of the reasons humans can heal. It's what lets us adapt, learn, and grow. Therapies for trauma often use this exact process. There's one called EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It helps people revisit painful memories in a safe setting. When those memories are recalled in this new emotional state, the brain can rewrite them. Not erase them, but soften their emotional power. Someone who once relived a memory with terror can later recall it with calm or distance. The memory stays, but the pain changes. Our brains evolved to help us survive, not to record perfect history. So they edit our memories to protect us. A slightly altered past can help us make peace with it. But that also means the self, who we think we are, isn't as fixed as we like to believe. Because our identity is built on memory. Change the memory, and the foundation shifts. Think about it. Every time you remember your own story, you're choosing a version of yourself, the brave one, the victim, the dreamer, the one who almost gave up but didn't. Those versions come from how you remember your past. Your memories are not a history book. They're a story about who you believe yourself to be. They're shaped by what you need them to mean. And it's not just individuals who do this. Groups do it too. There's something called the Mandela Effect, named after the false memory many people share of Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s. In reality, he lived and became the president of South Africa. Yet millions of people swear they remember hearing about his death on the news. How can so many people share the same wrong memory? It turns out that when we talk about the past together, we start to shape a collective version of it. Once a story spreads, the details begin to align. Media, movies, and conversation reinforce those details until they feel undeniable. These shared false memories reveal how societies create their own myths. Over generations, the line between history and story blurs. A legend might start as a misunderstanding, then become a cultural truth. Nations, religions, and communities all have collective memories that define who they are, even if those memories aren't perfectly accurate. But again, that's not necessarily a flaw. It's part of how humans connect. Shared memories, even imperfect ones, give us a sense of belonging. They give us stories to tell, lessons to pass on, and meaning to hold on to. So maybe the fragility of memory isn't something to fear. Maybe it's what allows us to be human. Our minds are storytellers, not record keepers. And like any good storyteller, they edit. They cut scenes that no longer fit. They rearrange the order to make sense of chaos. They turn raw events into something we can live with. But that creative power can also be dangerous. Because if memory can be shaped, it can also be manipulated. When you realize memory is fluid, you see life differently. You stop clinging so tightly to every detail, and you start paying attention to what those memories mean to you now. If you've ever remembered an argument and later realized you both recalled it differently, that's not because one of you lied. It's because both of your brains rewrote the story in ways that made sense from your side. Every human being is living inside their own edited version of reality. That's humbling, but also freeing. It means none of us are perfect observers. We're interpreters, constantly rewriting what life has shown us. And that's what makes humanity so strange and so beautiful. So, are your memories lying to you? Maybe a little. But those small lies might be what keep you human. You don't remember the world as it was. You remember it as you need it to be. And that's not a flaw in the system. That's the reason you survive it. Are there any memories that feel strange to you? Comment your experiences below, and don't forget to like and subscribe while you're there.